Holly, and today I have a very simple basic kind of tutorial for you guys today. One of my wonderful Proper Pineapple pals or subscribers, however you guys want to be referred to, requested that I do a basic simple granny square. She was having a little trouble with it. She's a newbie and really wanted some help. So that's what we're going to do today. Just a very simple granny square, nothing fancy. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know how to do this, but if you know anybody who's learning to crochet and would like to do something like the granny square, please feel free to share this video, okay? Well, let's get to the tutorial. Okay, so to do this simple granny square tutorial, I'm just going to use my 5mm and some scrap worsted weight yarn. You can make a granny square out of any type of yarn. Just make sure your hook matches. That's my little belly. She's barking at me. She always wants my attention. All right, the first thing you're going to do is just make a slip knot. Do that however you want to. And then all we're going to do is chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go, our chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and all we're going to do is slip stitch back into the very first one or the 4th chain from the hook. So just yarn over, pull through, and go through. Basically, we made ourselves a little circle, and we're going to work into the center of the circle. Now, it's a little hard. Let me get the focus here to see where the center is. Some people will mistake this stitch here or some of these stitches over here for the center, but you just want to kind of pull really well and see that that is your center. So that's where we're going to be working. I like to just kind of pinch it between my fingers until I get my first set of clusters in there, and then it's easier to see. So with the granny square, for this basic tutorial, your clusters are going to be groups of 4 double crochets followed by chain 2s. And we want 4 clusters into this. So what you're going to start off with is a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That counts as your first stitch. So for this first cluster, we now need to put in 3 more double crochets. So yarn over, find that hole, the very center, make sure not to go in any stitches, and just put in 3 more double crochets. So 1, go back into that center, 2, and then right back into the center, 3. So for this first cluster, so you've got 4 here, you got your chain 3 that counts as your first one, 1, 2, 3. So that is your first side of a granny square. So now you have to make your corner, and don't worry, you're going to start just working over this tail. So just go ahead and work over it, don't worry about it. So to make our first corner, all we do is chain 2. 1, 2. Now we do 4, we're going to do another set of clusters, so 4 more double crochets right into the center. So go in, go. 1, 2. I got a little bit tight there. Let me get my yarn pulled out. Sorry about that. Number 3, and 1 more is 4. Now right now it doesn't look much like a square, but it will here soon. So now we just repeat that. We're going to chain 2. That's our second corner. Now we just need to do another side. So because we're going to have 4 clusters and 4 corners. Now we have 1 corner. This is going to be our second corner. We've got 2 sides. So now let's do 4 more double crochets right into the center. 1, 2, 3. My yarn got a little tangled there, sorry. And 4. So that is our third side. And as you can tell, it kind of looks like a circle right now. But just take your double crochets and kind of push them. Don't worry, there's plenty of room. So we have 3 sides and 2 corners. We need to put in our third corner. So chain 2 again, 1, 2, and now put in 4 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can kind of see what looks like a square. Here's our 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and we have 3 corners. We're going to put in our last corner here, and that will be the end of round 1. So chain 2, and now go over to that chain 3 in that top stitch of the chain 3. Just pick that up and you're going to slip stitch right into there. And there you go. There is your round 1 of a granny square. So you've got 4 different little clusters and 4 corners. So the way granny squares work is you're basically every row you add a couple of clusters on each side, or add a couple of spaces and a couple of clusters, and you're just working from now on into these holes. We're not doing anything with the tops of the crochet. So to get started, this is where it always gets a little confusing. Chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me get myself a little slack here. Okay, now what we want to do is that's the first double crochet in our first cluster. When you're at a corner, which all we have is corners right now, we don't have any holes on the side, what you do is you put in a cluster, a chain 2, and then another cluster. Okay, so what we want to do is put in this corner our first cluster, then we'll work our way around, and when we get back to here, we'll put the second cluster and the corner in. To do that, it's a little tricky because your chain 1's here, or your chain 3's here. So you're going to yarn over, and you're just going to go in to that hole. You kind of go across it and put it. Once you get your first one in, it's not near as bad. So put in your first double crochet. See, that counts as 2. Then put in another one. That counts as number 3, and one more in there is number 4. And there we go. See, at first it gets a little twisted, but it does work out. So now we need to get over to this other corner. What we're going to do is chain 2. 1, 2. That's it. It's always just chain 2s. Now this is a corner, so what we want to do is do a cluster of 4 double crochets, a chain 2, and then a cluster of 4 double crochets. So we just go right into that corner, put in our first set of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our first one. And remember, you can just slide it. You don't have to worry. Put in chain 2. That's our corner again. And then another cluster into that corner. 1, 2. Oops, almost lost it there. 2, 3, and 4. And now that's what you're always going to be doing in a corner. You see how that is? You're going to put in a grouping of 4, or a cluster, a corner, which is your chain 2, and then another grouping. So now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to jump over to this other corner and put in 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I just give mine a little shift, and then I put in a chain 2 that makes the corner again, and I put in 4 more double crochets into that hole. 1, 2, 3, oops, my yarn got a little tight here. 4. Let me loosen it up again. Okay, so as you can see, now I've got my other corner done. Now we're going to jump over to this other one, and to do that, you guessed it, we're going to chain 2 and go right into that corner and put in 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I give mine a little shift again, but you don't have to. It all squishes down and makes room for each other, not a problem. So I'm going to put in my chain 2 again, 1, 2, and put 4 more right into there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've done all those corners. Now we got to get back to that first corner where we've already done half of it by putting in one grouping of 4 double crochet. So what we want to do is chain 2. That gets us over there. Then we want to put in 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then, now just to finish that corner, since it already has its other grouping here, we just chain 2, and we find that top stitch of your chain 3, and we just slip stitch right into there. And that's it. That's how you do the second round of a, Now all of your granny squares are always going to be, you got to watch your tension. As you can see, my one stitch here got a little loose. Because of that, it's a little wonky on the side. But that's okay, because when you block your squares, that always works itself out. But it's very important to pay attention to your tension. But since this is just a demo on how to simply do it, I'm not going to worry about going back and fixing it right now. So I'm going to show you round 3, because round 3 is where you're going to start seeing the differences, because you're not going to just have corners. Now we have these center ones, and every time you do it, you're going to add yourself another couple of spaces, so that way you'll always have new places to put in your clusters of double crochet. So again, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and our first cluster goes right in here. It's going to be half of that last corner we do. So we're going to do, we've already got 1 because of the chain 3, so we're going to put in 3 more. 1, 2, 3. My yarn is being super unruly today. All right, so that's half of the corner like before. But now, instead of going straight to the corner, we have this gap we have to deal with. So what we do here is chain 2, and we put 4 double crochet into here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, that's all you're going to do on holes that are not your corners. You're just going to put 1 group in there. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and move on to the next one. It just so happens that this round it's a corner. So again, we're going to put in our 4 into the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to chain 2, and because it's a corner, we're going to put 4 more in there. 1, 2, sorry, 3, almost lost my yarn, 4. Okay, so see we have a corner there. So now we're going to go again to one of the center pieces. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. And we're going to go into that center hole and put in 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. See, it's not a corner, so we're only putting in the 1. We're going to chain 2 and go over to our next corner hole. Just jump right over to there after the chain 2. Put in your first grouping of 4. So 1, 2, 3, loosen my yarn again, and 4. And because it's a corner, I chain 2 and I put in 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, if you ever have trouble counting, just do crochet tutorials and then you'll count all day. Okay, so we got that side done now, see? So now we're going to go into this hole again. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this round and show you guys each one, and then from there on out it's just going to be repeating that. So we chain 2, 1, 2, we put 4 into here, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll chain 2 more, and we'll put in our 4 in our first set of 4 into the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's a corner. So again, chain 2, 1, 2, and put 4 more in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we need to get over to that center hole. We just want to chain 2. 1, 2. Go right into there. Do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do our chain 2 And then now we're back to that beginning corner that already has half of it done. So remember what we did on the last round. We go in there and we just put in 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Keeping my tension right here. And then we find that top of the chain 3. We go right in there and we just slip stitch it together. Oh, no, I'm sorry. First you do your chain 2, otherwise you won't have a corner. I'm so sorry. 1, 2. Then we go over and we slip stitch. Sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. So there is our granny square. There's 3 rounds of it. So when you're ready to finish your granny square, you could put whatever border you want on it, or if you wanted to just leave it like it is. To finish off, I like to just slip stitch into the next one and then pull my yarn through. I get my little handy dandy scissors out here and give a little cut, and I just pull it through. So I set my hook down here. Get that out of the way. My couple of tails I got to work in. So there it is. There is just a very simple granny square. When you're doing granny squares, it does really, really, really help your project. I cannot stress that enough. Really help your project that when you're finished to block your squares on a blocking mat, because then you'll make sure all your squares are the exact same size, because they just get a little lopsided here and there with pulling. So to block them, it really does help. But this isn't a blocking video. This is a simple granny square. So there it is. And all you're going to do from now on is just continue in that pattern. In the corners, you put in a cluster of 4, chain 2, a cluster of 4. And then in every hole, all you do is your clusters of 4s, and everything is spaced with chain 2s. So I hopefully that was helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions, just leave them down in the comment section. As you guys can see, the granny square is a very, very easy a very easy pattern to do. It's great for new crocheters and those just learning, and for us experts, or well, I wouldn't call me an expert, but us seasoned crocheters, it's a great way to use up scrap yarn. This one I obviously did in a solid color in my, this is like a really colorful yarn I have left over from one of my mini doll dresses I made last year. But you could do it in different color in every row. So many different options for granny square. So I love it. I think it's really fun. It's a great way to use up my extra yarn. And like I said, I am teaching my kids to do this right now because they're just learning to crochet, and they get really excited when they finish one. Funny, I wish I had it, but I don't. My daughter took it out. The first one she brought to me had like 8 sides, and I was like, oh, that's so pretty, princess. And she was like, I made a granny square. And I was like, it's more like an octagon, but okay, we're gonna go with it. So it's just fun. And eventually, I mean, you can only mess up so many times with the granny square before you get it right. So thank you guys for watching, as always. Don't forget to check out this month's giveaway. It's still open all the way until the oh, it's only 20. I forget it's February. I was about to say the 31st, but that is like an imaginary day in February, the 28th. It's open until the 28th, so don't forget to check that out. Don't forget to hit this little pineapple up here in the corner and subscribe. You don't want to miss all the fun videos I have planned. Bye guys, have a great day.